Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Trajan Temple Sportscast. I am your host, the one and only, the @1 Christian Temple, your resident Chiefs fan, and I am joined tonight by my good friend, the terrible towel twirling Trajan. How are we doing this evening, good sir?
We're doing great. Football's back, man.
Football is back, and we're super excited about it too, even if we do have to deal with the Dallas Cowboys this Thursday.
Well, it's a matchup between two very good teams. 11 Super Bowls between them. So.
My good, and only two
Got
in
that
the,
going.
and only two in the last 15 years. Anyway, we've got a fun show coming up today. We are going to talk about how trash the USA Today predictions are going to be. We're going to talk about our own predictions that we have regarding all of the division winners and the 3 wildcard seeds. I never thought we'd say that. We have 3 wildcard teams in each playoff. This is going to be very interesting. We will also be talking about our own teams, players that we think will impress, and players that we think will regress, as well as some other fun tidbits from the past few months in NFL news. But to start off with, let us check out what the USA Today had in store for us here. As we can see here too, starting with the AFC West, rightfully so, they have the Kansas City Chiefs at 12-5. Although they're pretty, they're staying pretty conservative with the amount of wins and losses with Kansas City here too. But they are keeping the tradition alive of making the Chargers a relevant football team. It sounds like. What do you think there, Trajan?
I mean, every year. I mean, it's like clockwork. We're gonna have the Chargers go into the Super Bowl or deep in the playoffs, and they never do it. So,
it's
same news.
Oh, go ahead.
Old news.
Right. And it's funny too, is you got the Chargers and then you have the Broncos last year that were so injury riddled. I mean, it was like bad luck, like the worst kind of luck you could have when you have to start a wide receiver, a practice squad wide receiver as your quarterback for a game. Man, you are in some deep doo-doo at that point. And of course, the Raiders bringing up the rear, as they usually do anyway. Both listed at 8 and 9 there too, so they have them listed as probably record-wise the best division in the AFC. It seems like with the AFC North coming a close second here. I will let you break down the AFC North for me here.
All right, so they have Cleveland Browns taking the division there, 13-4. I mean, I can't blame them. They had a strong showing last year. I mean, they have a pretty potent offense and a pretty good defense too. So
it's a big time scare in the divisional round last year for the Chiefs' sake.
Yeah, I mean, it's they're not the same old Browns.
they're not the nameless gray faces, huh? That they appeared to be.
They still are. No one cares about the Browns.
Gotcha.
But they're not the same old Browns.
All right.
But yeah, 13-4. Then they have the Ravens at 11-6. Followed by the Steelers at a massive bullshit. You can actually see my notes here.
I will flip to the screen now. That is Trajan's note right there of what. Pull it up one more time there. What are your thoughts of the 7 and 10?
That's all I have prepared for this USA Today.
Deep,
they have us at 7 and 10.
Some deep notes from our resident Steelers fan here too, and then of course the Bengals were bringing up the rear as per usual with a surprising 6-11 record as well too.
Yeah, Joe Burrow will survive 3 of those games before he's destroyed. But yeah, no, 6-11.
Do we think Ryan Finley to the rescue again?
Maybe. I mean, he did beat us, so. And Burrow has not beat the Steelers. Finley has beat the Steelers, so I mean, maybe a better quarterback.
Maybe he'll be the Nick Foles in that situation. Just pull Joe Burrow out and put Ryan Finley in whenever they play Pittsburgh. Moving on to the AFC South now. We got the Tennessee Titans at 12-5. I can't say I disagree with that. They made a lot of moves in the offseason here, adding Julio Jones. Among others there too. I just drew a total blank on who else they added over the offseason, but they made some good moves. Got the Colts. Now, I know these predictions came out before the news broke of Carson Wentz and now Quentin Nelson with foot injuries, respectively, at 9-8 now. Do you see that no longer being the case? Them having a winning record.
Well, it could be better because Rivers said he's not closing the door on returning. So I mean, maybe he comes back and plays, and I don't know. 9-8 is probably right, but they have a pretty good organization, pretty decent offense with a run game. They do have some wide receivers.
Get Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack as a running back duo and all that, and they drafted a running back this year, if I'm not mistaken, in the first round, which was interesting because I figured Taylor and Mack would have been the guys, but that's a very interesting deal. But hey, if the song holds true, "Old Man River," if it does keep rolling, maybe this is Rivers' last chance to do something with a franchise. And, of course, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars, which they apparently have no faith in Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer, and the literal dumpster fire that is the Houston Texans with a very, very bad 1-16 prediction there, too.
That might be too much for them. They might go the Lions route of no wins.
Yeah, at first when I saw the 1-16, I thought maybe the 1 out of 16 accusations may be correct, but now I understand that it's the record they're speaking of. Moving on to the AFC East, and it still doesn't look right that they have the Bills on the top and the Patriots not up there. It just what kind of world are we living in right now? Where
we're returning to the early 90s.
Apparently so we are, and that may not be a good thing for Pittsburgh fans right now because the early 90s wasn't very favorable.
Yeah.
We also have the Dolphins listed at 11-6, the final wildcard spot. I believe that, honestly. Like I said, we'll be showing our predictions here in just a moment. Dolphins are turning things around. It seems like Brian Flores. How about Brian Flores, rather? Seems to have been doing incredible things with Miami in his short time with the Dolphins.
Yeah. No, I think Dolphins there, that's probably right there.
Of course, they have the Patriots getting back to a winning record with the addition of Mac Jones at quarterback. Will he start over Cam Newton? We shall see. And, of course, the New York Jets, even with the addition of Zach Wilson, will still be a pedestrian 5-12 to end out the year.
I would love to see that flipped. Yeah, New England last in their division. I mean, how great would that be?
Then it would be the early 90s all over again. All right, moving on to the NFC West. I know you're super excited about this division. I will let you take this one to start off with.
You know, I'm super stoked about the Cardinals. They picked up a lot of players, and so I'm excited about them. So let's see. Let me get to it there. They're kind of bullish on the 49ers, 11-6. I mean, last year they were injury riddled. I can kind of see that. They do have a great coach there. I think he offensively puts them in a good position. So maybe. I would probably lean more towards the Rams, which are next. They have them rated at 10-7, and getting the 5th seed in the playoffs there. Or, I mean, then they have the Seahawks coming in 9-8, and this is where I think it gets wrong. I mean, I think this could be a division where it's a 10-win plus across the board.
I wouldn't disagree.
9-8 and the 7th seed.
I wouldn't disagree with you with that at all because you look at the history of the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan. Let's think back to 3 years ago when they were 4-12. Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt. It was week 3 against Kansas City. They come roaring back the very next year and make it to the Super Bowl after all that, and coming back from a injury-riddled season here too. 11-6, that may just be the floor for them at this point. The only thing is going to be, this is Jimmy Garoppolo's last chance, obviously, with them going after Trey Lance in the draft, and also the defense is going to be very interesting with the exclusion of Robert Saleh, who is now the head coach of the New York Jets. I would tend to agree with you. The Rams are definitely going to be a contender too. It is going to be very weird yet very exciting watching Matt Stafford take the reins at
Yeah.
the quarterback position for the Los Angeles Rams. The Seahawks are going to be interesting. They fired Brian Schottenheimer over the offseason, and obviously the Arizona Cardinals, they're going to be very exciting to watch because now you've got Kyler Murray, you've got DeAndre Hopkins, and you've got AJ Green, and you've got Fitz. You got Larry Fitzgerald on there. That is a top of the line receiving core there. So yeah, the NFC West is going to be so much fun to watch, even on the other side of the conference. Moving on now to the NFC North with the announcement that Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I would have to agree with this top stat that the Green Bay Packers will indeed take the North. Vikings will be interesting. I think they will take the wild card spot as well. I agree with that. The Bears and the Lions, of course, bringing up the rear. The Lions you had, we'll get to this later. The Lions you had taking the wild card spot. You want to clue me in on that one?
You know, I was very high when I said that.
Well, at least the honesty came out finally.
No, I just think that division's just been so meh. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers at the top, and all three just kind of battling it out. You know, who knows? Who's to say Detroit just doesn't sneak in there? I have a hunch.
We could see a 14-3 Lions this year and all that with DeAndre Swift at running back position and also Jared Goff at quarterback. This is going to be very funny to watch or very fun to watch. There's no in between.
Yeah.
Moving on to the South, obviously the previous Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they gave them a very good, high-rated record there, 14-3, the best record in football, they say. Followed up with a very weak division, as we mentioned, a very weak division. We got Carolina Panthers with Sam Darnold, perhaps going to take the helm on that. We got the New Orleans Saints with either Jameis Winston or what's his name? Taysom Hill, that's right. Taysom Hill, probably trading quarterback duties there. And then the Atlanta Falcons with Matty Ice. But the Falcons, a garbage fire doesn't even hardly describe what's been going on ever since the Super Bowl all those years ago.
You know, I think they could pull something out there.
They'll pull something out. It'll be Brady's fist, but they'll pull it out eventually.
Well, no doubt Brady's going to walk over this division, but I think you could make the case for flip-flopping the New Orleans Saints in Atlanta. I mean, Matty Ice is still a great quarterback. Taysom Hill and what's his name? Winston.
Jameis Winston. Yep.
Jameis Winston.
Yep.
You can't really. Matty Ice has led him to a Super Bowl.
You believe Matty Ice will eat more W's than Jameis Winston shall this year?
Oh yeah.
Very
because
good.
Jameis Winston, if he eats W's, it's going to be on the bench.
You know what? That's actually pretty good. Moving on now to another garbage fire, which happens to be an entire division. They have a lot of love for the Cowboys, it seems like. They are showing them at 10-7, which actually could happen. They're getting Dak Prescott back. They're getting Amari Cooper back. They're getting Ezekiel Elliott back. They're getting everybody back. They're going to be healthy, too. My holdup is still going to be McCarthy. I don't know if Jerry's going to say this is your last chance, or if he rebounds and gets him to the playoffs, maybe his job is set for life. We'll have to see how that goes. I believe Washington, the football team, will be better than what USA Today predicts, in my opinion, even with Fitzpatrick.
8-9, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and of course the Giants getting Kenny Golladay in the offseason. That was a big acquisition, and also drafting Kadarius Toney. So some weapons now for Daniel Jones. But now the big question is, can Saquon Barkley stay healthy long enough? Can Evan Ingram stay healthy long enough as well? Because that'd be a stacked offensive weapons for Daniel Jones to throw to. And apparently there's no love for Jalen Hurts as they're bringing the Eagles in at 3-14. What do you make of that?
Philadelphia is Philadelphia. I mean,
not that you're biased of Pennsylvania teams at all.
I just, ever since their Super Bowl run, I mean, It's like they lost that edge, that steam,
And Frank
and
Reich.
yeah, well, that's true, but it might be on the head coach at this point.
Could very well be.
To
I do also believe that Doug Peterson's probably in the hot seat this year.
Yeah, I mean, he sets the tone at the end of the day for the
Absolutely.
organization.
Absolutely. All right, moving on to our predictions now. Let's bring this on in here too. And actually, I'm gonna zoom on in here really quick, actually, so everyone at home can see a little better. That's more like it. All right, moving on, and luckily I I sent a picture to Trajan earlier because we actually, when we made these, we made this around the draft about 3 or 4 months ago. So he actually forgotten how long it was since he made these
Yeah.
picks, and that's why I had to give him crap about the fact that he put Detroit as the final wild card spot. I had to throw you into the fire on that one. I apologize for that. It was just too funny not to pass up.
In my defense, I think at that time, Matt Stafford was still on the Lions. I'm pretty sure when we did
That was one of like the earlier trades that happened. I thought, but
I don't remember.
I could be wrong, but still. But standing on that too. So looks like we were pretty consistent with the USA Today, at least on the AFC side, as far as the division winners. We both have Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and Buffalo taking the top spot in our division. Except, oh, that's right, Cleveland. They had Cleveland on there too. I had it backwards. Cleveland, I have taken the top wild card spot. They showed a lot of good stuff last year, and I think from the talent that they've added in the offseason, they got Jadeveon Clowney now. I mean, they're ready to make a move this year for a long playoff run.
Yeah. Then I have the Baltimore again, the first one. At the end of the day, I don't like the Ravens, but I do like Lamar, and I put more trust in Lamar than Baker.
Absolutely.
So then I got Cleveland with the second wild card spot.
For the exact same reason, that's why I had Baltimore on there too. They always find a way to make a statement in the regular season. What they do in the playoffs, that's a whole different deal. Although Lamar did finally get his first playoff win last year, congrats to him on the road, no less, and got revenge against Tennessee. So that's an interesting little storyline they've got. Will they meet again? Who knows? And third, we were pretty in sync on this one. The Miami Dolphins taking the third wild card spot.
Yep. No, I mean they've been consistently improving. The biggest question mark there would be Tua.
Absolutely, they're going to go as far as Tua and Brian Flores lets them, but it seems like they're a pretty cohesive unit so far. So it'll be fun to watch, and we'll see how it goes from there. Moving on to the NFC West, we did go into detail a little bit about this earlier. We are the complete and total opposite of what USA Today believes. We think Arizona, this is the year. They always do this. It's always one random year where Arizona just makes an absolute splash, and they're just somehow a great team out of nowhere. And I think this year would be the year.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got J.J. Watt now.
Where can they go wrong?
Yeah. Everyone needs a Watt.
Exactly. You get a Watt. You get a Watt. Everyone gets a Watt. NFC North in agreement there too. NFC South also. Both the Bays are going to win their divisions. And this is where we kind of had a little different opinion on this too. I thought, or I believe still actually, I think the Washington football team will take the East once again with a little stronger showing this season than they had last year. Obviously, their biggest moment was taking down the 11-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. That was probably their biggest moment besides making the playoffs and nearly beating Tampa Bay, because Taylor Heineke looked phenomenal for what it's worth, being forced to step in for Alex Smith that game.
Yeah, no doubt there. I mean, they have a great defense. I like Fitzpatrick, but I can't put that much faith in him that they're going to take the division.
And your belief is that Dallas will step back in this year as the champions?
As long as Dak stays healthy, I mean, their offense is great. It's just whether or not they can stop someone.
Absolutely. Moving on to the top wild card spots here too. My top my second spot is your top spot, and skipping over the Rams, we'll just go straight down to the Seattle Seahawks getting into a wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson. That's all I have to say.
There you go.
Russell
That's almost all that needs to be said at this point. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody is on not on Russell's case, but they are on Pete Carroll now to bring something to the town. Now it looks like is perhaps Carroll in the hot seat now?
At this point, he'll just be kind of the Steelers thing, a forced retirement. It won't be a fired. It'll be a, hey, you've done a great job. You're starting to get old. See you later. He is the oldest, right?
I believe so. I think the Brian Schottenheimer firing was his last chance. It's like you, it's like you see what I did to him. That's going to be you if you don't straighten up your act, young man. That's what I believe the organization was sending the message there too. And of course, bringing up the third wildcard spot, I think Kirk Cousins will lead Minnesota into the final wildcard spot. It's still crazy to think that Chicago somehow snuck into the playoffs last year, but I think it'll be Minnesota's time to sneak in and get absolutely demolished by Green Bay one more time before before heading back home.
Yeah, and then, like you said, I took Detroit.
Which
So we'll see how that plays
anything
out.
could happen in the NFC North. It's always funny to watch too, because then you're just like, where the heck did this team come from? All right, so that is officially our predictions for each team here too. Switch back to the screen. Hello, people again. We brought this up at the beginning of the show, so obviously no player can do the exact same thing twice. They're always going to be better or they're going to be worse. But the discussion we're going to have now is which player do we think is going to go trend down, and which player, that kind of had a mediocre season, is going to trend up this year. And I will go first. And as much as it pains me to say it, because he has been absolutely phenomenal the last 5 years. I mean, if you're talking to like the top tight end in the league, you can't go without saying his name, and obviously that's Travis Kelce. Last year, nearly 1,500 yards receiving. That is the most he's had in a single season his entire career. Averaging 13.5 yards per catch. He had 11 touchdowns. That's only the second time he's broke double digits for touchdowns, going back to 2018 when Mahomes threw a fifth of his 50 touchdowns to Kelce. Talk about spreading the love on that. I believe this year, I think he'll still break, if not get close to 1,000 yards. But I think this year is when teams are really going to try and start locking him down, which is great news for upcoming Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill, because that means more love for them, I guess.
Exactly. I definitely can see what you're saying there.
Moving on to who I think will impress, not regress, impress this year would be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even though he was injured for a few games last year, he had 181 attempts and 800 yards on the ground this year, averaging 4.4, and had 4 touchdowns last year. I was super happy with the amount of moves the Chiefs made this year, adding Joe Tooney, Orlando Brown, Austin Blythe, and getting Kyle Long out of retirement as well too, and even drafting Creed Humphreys too. This offensive line is going to be great. We're getting Laurent Duvernay-Tardif back from the opt-out too, and he, from what I saw in training camp, he looks phenomenal. I'm excited to see what they do protecting Mahomes, and even more to see how Clyde Edwards-Helaire can bring the running game for Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can see that happening there. Don't think your offensive line is going to be that great. I think people are hyping them up before they've even proved themselves yet as a team. But whatever.
You don't understand though, when you watch a Super Bowl with third string linemen protecting your quarterback, you can't help but get more excited about having better protection than literally a practice squad in a Super Bowl. So it's so nice to see some actual names guarding Mahomes this time. But onto your side of the field here too. Who will impress and who will regress in Pittsburgh land?
All right, I'll start out with the bad note, then end with the high note there. So, regress. I think Chase Claypool. I mean, he had 62 receptions, 109 targets, 9 tuds. and 873 yards receiving. So, I mean, for a rookie, that's really good. I think he's just going to hit a second year slump. I think there's a lot of other people that are going to be getting the ball too. You got Najee Harris there, who's probably going to get more running time, so Big Ben isn't going to be throwing it. There's Juju Smith-Schuster. There's our tight end there. Plus, you got some other wide receivers that want the ball too. So I think that's going to be reflective in that there too.
I can definitely see that too. He was one that surprised me how much he stepped up last year too, because I really thought it would be the Juju and Deontay Johnson's show, but we saw Deontay obviously had a pretty off year there too, and Claypool stepped up big time.
Yeah, on the flip side, though, I mean, defenses could be more honest now. I mean, they knew we were going to throw the ball last year, and maybe he gets more breakout, more separation, more touchdowns through that. I don't know, but I think it's more with what I'm thinking right now. But who's going to impress this year? I think Big Ben. I mean, let's just go down the stats for last year. I mean, if you just looked at these three stats, you'd be like, wow, he did a really good job. 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and 94.1 quarterback rating. I mean, coming off of a surgically repaired elbow. Problem with him, though, I mean, he was dropping back, throwing 40, 50 times a game. So I think just like what I was mentioning with Najee Harris on Claypool, it's going to help him. Defenses are going to be honest. They can't just go out full out blitz for the quarterback. They're going to have to guard their gaps and everything like that. Maybe we get some yards out of it. So,
probably one of the funniest memes I think I saw last year was defenses when Big Ben fakes a handoff and it's the Stephen A. Smith where he's just like.
I mean, they were full out, full rush the quarterback, and I mean, it made him have to throw the ball fast. I mean, you keep the defense honest, you hand off the ball there. He's an old man, 39 years old. But I still think he can throw. He can still play. One of the biggest things that's coming out is we have Matt Canada as our offensive coordinator, a young guy. We've been having these older guys there. He's bringing a lot more different motions and everything like that, kind of like what you're used to seeing in your guys' offense, that college-style football play. And Big Ben, he's been all in on it there. He's all in on this new offense.
It's always good to approach change with an open mind and open eyes and all that too. So, but that's the offense. So we will lead on to the defense now too. The one I think that will impress and finally get back to where he is now is Juan Thornhill. Obviously he was playing with injuries last year. He was unfortunately I had forgotten about this. He was injured in the before the Super Bowl that the Chiefs ended up winning too, and he wanted so bad to get back, and he ultimately did, just for unfortunately for Kansas City to lose that one too. Obviously his stats regressed a little bit from 2019. 2019, his rookie season, he was a breakout star. I mean, it seems like if we draft a rookie corner or safety and give him number 22. Freaking Marcus Peters was awesome, number 22. And then we got Orlando Scandrick, who had been in the league, and he was horrible. But he had been in the league. But we drafted Juan Thornhill, put number 22 on him, and he was phenomenal. It was so much fun to watch, and watching him line up side by side with the Honey Badger, I mean, that was a deadly duo, and I'm excited to see Thornhill get back to where he was 2 years ago for the Super Bowl winning season. And I believe he can do it, and alongside Dirty Dan Sorensen and Charvarius Ward and all those guys too, and L'Jarius Sneed, another rookie that we picked up, number 38. He showed some flashes of brilliance too. So as far as our secondary, our back four, and all that too, I'm super excited to see what all they put together. As far as a player that I think might regress. And the only reason I think that is because of the change in position. That would be Chris Jones. He has been a shit wrecker of a human being, being up in the middle, batting down the balls, the quarterback throws and all that too. I was there in 2018, the playoff game, when Andrew Luck was throwing it, and he knocked down like two in a row and then sacked him the very next play. So the 3 and out was all on Chris Jones there singularly. That was so much fun to watch. 2020, ever since 2018, he has kind of got a little less with sacks. So 2018, 15.5 sacks. 2019, 9 sacks. And 2020, 7.5 sacks. That was all when he was an interior defensive lineman, and now he's going to be moved as an edge rusher. So either two things are going to happen. Either it's not going to fit for him and he'll have to be moved back, or he's going to turn into the next Derek Thomas, which I am all for. I would love to see that happen, but man, it's going to be tough. Hopefully he proves me wrong, but I think this year might be a little bit of an off year for Chris Jones.
Yeah, I can see that there. So moving on my side there. So it's actually a guy that's new to the team that I have that's going to impress.
Okay.
And I think that's Melvin Gordon. Melvin Ingram.
Helping the running back room, Melvin Gordon.
Yeah,
I know what you meant.
I think so. Last year, he only played 7 games. He's had a little bit of an injury bug, but he is that veteran presence. And off the other side of TJ Watt, he might have himself a year. So, I mean, I don't know if they're going to be expecting him to take all that. We do have some guys behind him that can come in. They're really good because Bud Dupree, he went out, week 10 last year, and that's who he'd be filling in his shoes for, and these guys rotated behind him. So I don't think he's going to have to play all that much, so he'll be able to save that juice for when he's actually playing. He doesn't have to push through a whole game. And then the one that I hate to say seeing regress, but I think it will be, is Devin Bush. Played 5 games last year, got an injury to his ACL, went out. But before that, he was playing lights out. He was playing out of his mind. This guy is super fast. He's all over the field. I mean, think of Troy Polamalu if he was a linebacker. I mean, he is that fast. He's always there for the tackle or where the ball is. So, but I mean, coming off that injury there, he might have to, speed it up midway through the season. But I don't see him starting out that hot as he did last year.
I was gonna say ACLs are tricky. Luckily he's young. Hopefully he can bounce back from it very quickly, and maybe it won't affect him that much. And hopefully it's not a situation like Jamal Charles where you come back from one ACL only to tear the other one. So I definitely don't hope that fate for him on that front too. Well, closing thoughts on this one too. Football is back. We've waited 20 plus weeks. It's our favorite time of the year. Obviously, I've been a fan of football as long as I can remember. Same with my friend Trajan here, and we could not be more excited, and we cannot wait to share each week's experience with you at home. Any closing thoughts really quick, Trajan, before we sign off here tonight?
No, I mean, I'm excited for the Hall of Fame game. I mean, let's go out, get football started up again, so here in a few weeks we get the regular season.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. Click like if you liked the video. Click subscribe if you really liked it, and tell all your friends. Football is back, baby, and we are here every step of the way. We love you all. Have a great night. Temple and Trajan signing off.